The goal of a drug-free world has caused more problems than it has solved. Heroin comes from poppy. Poppy comes from the soil. And farmers work the soil. But since heroin is illegal, policymakers decided not only that growing poppy should be illegal, but also that the farmer who grows it should be considered a criminal. From the farmer's perspective, though, the poppy plant is just that, a plant. We usually picture gangsters and armed militants whenever someone talks about the drug trade. But let's keep in mind that that's not the whole picture. In 2017, a comparative study took place in Mexico and Colombia with the aim of understanding the situation of these farmers. The findings of this study are not exactly a surprise. As you might imagine, the kind of crops that governments have categorized as illegal tend to be found in remote locations. The people in those remote locations tend to be poorer than their fellow citizens. And while there is violence perpetrated by crime organizations, the farmers who become another link in the heroin chain are just harvesting a crop that sells better than the rest. You see, poppy grows pretty quickly for a crop. It only takes about 4 months from seed to harvest. This allows farmers to rotate legal and illegal crops in a cycle that doesn't draw too much attention. Opium gum, which is extracted from the poppy, is easy to both transport and hide because it is non-perishable and very compact. A single hectare of poppy delivers 11 to 15 kilograms of gum, 24 to 33 pounds. It's easy to harvest too. Most important of all, though, is this. The market for opium gum is much more stable and profitable than that of other legal crops. In fact, the farmer doesn't even have to go to a market to sell opium gum. Someone will come to them and pick it up. If you put all of these forces together, you'll see it's very difficult to find a way to replace poppy crops with legal crops. Both carrots and sticks fall short because, as far as crops go, poppy is just too convenient. In fact, it has lifted a lot of farmers out of poverty. It shouldn't surprise us then to find that in spite of government actions such as fumigation, criminalization, and crop substitution programs, there are about 25,000 hectares, more than 61,000 acres of poppy growing in Mexico, and 600 hectares, nearly 1,500 acres, growing in Colombia today. If we compare this to the demand for heroin coming from markets like the United States, we see a basic correlation between supply and demand. There's no reason to think that demand will slow, especially not if US policymakers continue to crack down on opium-based medication, which will send more people who need palliative care to look to illegal sources, above all heroin. We've spent years treating the farmers who cultivate opium like criminals without getting any closer to a world free of drugs. The only thing they're doing is hurting the very people who can least afford it. This is clearly a serious and complicated problem, but anyone who thinks Mexico cannot find a way to give farmers more opportunities while also respecting poppy's important medical uses is wrong. The repeated failures of the past several decades are not proof that nothing can be done. They're proof that it's time for new voices and new ideas that would finally end the cycle of poverty and violence.